So
Cool.
this is the first interview. So let's make it a decent one.
Let's make it count. Absolutely.
We'll not aim for amazing. We'll aim for decent.
No, let's aim for amazing. Come on.
Brilliant. I
Ask
love it.
away. Ask
I
away.
love it. So first of all, that is where I want to start, Fabrizio,
Yeah.
because like I say, this movie 2 years ago, this was being crowdfunded. I believe it's been in the works a little bit longer than that as well. And here we are, finally March 16th, and it's coming out today on streaming platforms.
Yes.
Independent movie making at the best of times is really, really hard.
Yeah.
How awesome is it when one of these projects gets over the line and comes out and is dropping to the general audience, to the world?
Yeah, well, look, without sounding too biased, this is independent film at its finest, okay? Not only do you go out there and find writers and crowdfund a film, you actually execute it with brilliance. And, I take my hat off to any filmmaker out there that wants to make a film. It is not easy to make a film, whether it's a short film or whether it's a feature film. But, when you collectively, when you create a team and you all come together and you write a great film, you perform a great film, and you deliver a great film, that is when you've got to give kudos to Mark and the producers, and of course all the crew, actors, and so on and so forth. Look, I've been working with Mark now for about 7 years. We both started working together on a film called Homeless Ashes, his very first feature film, and then he sort of brought me into his second feature film, Witch, and then him and I had a conversation about a potential Jitters or about a potential psychological thriller, horror, anything kind of that can draw a crowd in. And he said, I'm going to hire a different writer. He brought the writer in, and we were just sort of revising this script and going through the story and thinking, we don't just want to make a film, we want to make a film that's interesting, that's authentic, that's original, and that's kind of also with the times, in terms of right now, AI is massive. It's taken over the world. It's taken over people's lives. It's taken over people's thoughts, should we say? So we thought, right, well, let's really mess with some people's heads and give them something to think about. What is this? Who is this? And how is this thing doing it? Should we say? So I kind of approached this character differently because I thought, well, you know what, I'm British, obviously, and British Italian, and I thought, well, I could play this in a British accent, but seeing as we're in a world called Prism, that hopefully everyone will work out when they watch the film, why don't we Americanize it slightly? Why don't we make it like a Gotham sort of thing? And that's exactly what we did with the look of it, with the locations, with the whole the color grading of the film, and with the fact that I played Detective Nick Collymore as an American character.
And that answers pretty much one of my questions about why the American accent. Because again, you're a British actor, a British Italian actor, and it was cool to see you doing this and sort of pulling off something a little bit different for you. But I want to dig into Detective Collymore a little bit more, because one of the things I really liked about this movie is that this is one of those characters that's multi-layered, multifaceted, flawed in a way, has his own demons. So what was it about this character, and who was Detective Collymore to you?
I mean, to be completely honest, there is so much that went into Detective Collymore, and I've spoken about this quite a few times now, to different people that may have asked me this question. Detective Collymore isn't just a sort of a tough guy detective from America. He's got a lot of pain, he's got a lot of suffering, very anxious man. He's been through a lot with his love life, and he's having health issues as well at the same time. So I thought, well, I can't just make this character look and sound a certain way. I have to try and show the audience that he's, for one, that he's not well, and for two, that he's going through attachment, love. There's a huge story there as well between him and his ex-partner, Julia. So I want to try and answer this question with the two the questions that you said I'd
Yeah.
already covered, but I just thought, well, the biggest challenge for me is playing an American, because obviously we're competing against the Americans, right? The Americans are, you know, they are amazing at making horror films, but then so are we. We're great filmmakers as well. But I thought, right, you know, let me try and play this in American and see if I can do it justice, and hopefully I've done just that. But then I thought, how can I create a character with Mark that we might be able to see again, and then we get some backstory. There could be a prequel, there could be a sequel. You know, are people going to like him? You know, how do people feel about this character? And so therefore, it was my duty as an actor to give him some sort of style where he, again, doesn't just look a certain way. He has to sound a certain way. He's got to move a certain way. And also where people can sort of like see an endearing part of this character. And so there's lots of things that I can't quite eloquently describe to you right now, but there's lots of things about Collymore that are very different from me. But then as an actor, it's 50% me and 50% the character. You know, you can't just create unless you're animating a character. So yeah, you know, again, I hope I've done just that, like I've said. The dark places he goes to are, I would honestly say that a lot of us as humans, we as people, we go to these dark places, especially men that don't want to talk about stuff, especially men that have, whether it's a problem, whether it's an anxious feeling, whether it's an underlining something, you know, they just don't talk. And he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that because he doesn't want to worry his family, and plus he's this alpha male detective that doesn't really want to talk about what's going on. And in the same breath, he knows that he's got to be quiet about certain things because something has something's hacked him, like they've hacked others. And the more I talk about it, the more this thing will know, and it may lead to, well, I don't want to say, because obviously everyone has to watch. People need to watch the film.
It's one of the things I loved about the character is like you do build upon layer upon layer, and I keep saying layer upon layer, but you don't get very many characters like this in horror, I don't think, where you actually get to spend some time and you realize that, oh, there's some family drama there's some health drama there, and then there's like the job drama on top of that. You kind of only see these characters as being one-dimensional, but you're a very 3D character in this, and that's what I really like about what you bring to this role, because I felt like I was going through the ringer with you.
That's good. That's cool, man. That's a really lovely compliment to receive, because at the end of the day, that is what I said to Mark. I said, look, you know, we have to draw people in. Yeah. And people have to join us on this journey, and we can't make things too we can't reveal too many things. We can't make them too, you know, we can't have people kind of what's the word I'm looking for? We can't make it too predictable, for one. Yeah. And yet it's a problem for me to solve, right? So if I'm in it trying to solve these things, and everyone else watching it also is trying to solve what I'm trying to solve. Yeah. If that makes any sense at all. It's like, if it's a who is it type storyline, who is it, who's done it? If I don't know, then you guys may not know either. Do you know what I mean? So I just thought as a man, as an actor, I don't have a daughter in my life, but I've got friends of mine that have got kids, and I know what I'm like with their kids and so on. So I thought, right, I'm going to approach this delicately. You know, when he's with his child, he has to be this delicate man, and when he's kind of, you know, with either Jitters himself or his co-workers, he's got to be this tough kind of Batman. He's like a Batman but detective sort of thing, you know what I mean? In this world, you know, and that's what I think I had in my head. I think I had Bill Pullman as well when he played this detective in The Sinner. Did you ever watch that? Yep. Yeah, you see how Bill Pullman had he had a problem but no one knew, right? And he had a stillness about him and a confusion, and you couldn't quite work him out. That's what I kind of said to myself, think about what he was going through somehow, and look at visually how he approached the character and composed himself. But I thought, right now, I need to do it my way.
And you briefly touched on the titular Jitters there, and Daniel Jordan absolutely just wow. This is a performance that, you know, so many movies, especially in the last couple of years as well, we've been getting like the sort of the clown horror kind of thing, Terrifier and things like that. It got a big reboot and everything like that. This is a very, very different kind of clown horror, which I absolutely respected, loved, and adored about this movie. It's not what you think it is when you go in, and then it flips again and it flips again. What was your impression the first time you met Jitters on set in full attire, and what was it like working with Daniel Jordan in this role?
Okay, another great question. Daniel and I worked on, Daniel and I worked on a film called Witch, and him and I have great chemistry on set and off set. Right, and I kind of it was very challenging working with Daniel on Witch, because at the end of the day he played a character called Judge Hopkins and I was Sheriff Crawford, so I was under him again, right? So then when Mark Zammit said to me, I was like, listen, I need to know who Jitters is. I need to try and get my head around who this character is, who's playing Jitters, you know. And he said, you're gonna love it, but you'll also hate it, because you know he's going to give you a tough time. And when he told me, I was like, great, but only great because I know that I knew I was going to have someone alongside me or in front of me that was going to challenge me as an actor and as a person as well, because he is great. And Daniel was very unpredictable as well. You know, I've always said I'm quite unpredictable. You know, expect the unexpected on set. I might go off book. I might come off line, you know, in terms of, I might give you a different line that's not necessarily in the script, but it will carry the same weight, sort of thing. And Daniel does exactly that. He toys with me, I toy with him. You know, it's frustrating, but yet it's raw, it's believable, especially in the scenes where we're in this black void and he's walking around me, and I'm supposed to play this sort of like this. I'm supposed to be stuck in, like, glued to the floor. And he's going behind me, and he's literally, he's whispering in my neck, and he was making me feel very uncomfortable. But I loved it, and I told him after, I said, Dan, I said, there's something disturbingly generous about you when we're performing. It's disturbingly generous. You're being generous because you're making me sort of like feel uncomfortable. You're giving me that, but in the same breath, you're weirding me out. And I think that's the great thing about Daniel. He's a very underrated actor, personally, and I think there's a lot to come from him, and he played it perfectly. And I'm sure there's lots of actors out there that could have played Jitters, but not like Daniel. He's got qualities as an actor that I haven't seen in other actors I've worked with, and he was perfect for the part, because he's little, he's weird, he's quirky, but he's actually in real life a very nice man. He's an artist. He really is. He's a painter in real life. Daniel. He's an artist, and I would work with him again and again and again.
It's so strange as well, because like he looks like this weird character, you know, when you see the poster and you watch the trailers and all that.
Yeah.
But my God, you can't help but love him. You cannot help but love him.
Yeah, and also we've got to give credit to makeup and costume, because
absolutely.
I didn't expect I didn't know what he was going to look like, you know. And I said to Mark, I was like, so what? So will he have a clown's mask? Will he have a red? And he said, just watch. And I was like, okay. And I was like, wow, you know, he looks like something from a weird futuristic film, but also very creepy at the same time. So yeah, you know, hats off to them too, man. They did a great job.
Just quickly as well, you guys had a screening at the BAFTA House, which is always amazing to see these little movies that are really trying to push through into the mainstream and whatnot, getting showings like that. What was that like? What was the BAFTA House premiere like? How did everyone take to the movie, and what was the all-round kind of vibe?
You know what? It was really amazing. It really was simply unreal. Having a film being screened and having a little premiere, little shindig at the BAFTA in such a prestige sort of like venue. It's proper, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Everyone's very kind of dressed up, very nice and suited and booted, and you know, and you kind of feel that you have to kind of change your posture and be a bit more eloquent when you're there. Do you know what I mean? And it's a wonderful feeling. It really is a wonderful feeling to be there and have all these people watch it. But we had nothing but good feedback. You know, everyone was very excited to be there, and everyone was like, "Wow, you know what? Not sure what I was expecting." Because when people think independent film, they think bit naff or low budget, or you know, low budget or whatever. But everyone was like, "Wow, it looked like a real studio production," and that's why I say, you know, we have to sort of like really give these guys kudos and hats off to them, because not only is it an independent film, but the finesse, you know, the execution, the color grading, the editing, the scoring, especially the music, was unreal.
Yeah,
it literally it made the film a whole different film. And I think that what helps is having an American accent, a French accent, you know, another sort of like Canadian American accent, you know, British, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It kind of changes the dynamic of the film, and it does make it a bit more universal, you know. And also, again, we don't want the audience to work out where we are. Are we in London? Are we in America? Are we in Timbuktu? Who knows? We are in a place called Prism. Now, I think the only feedback I had from a casting director was, where were we exactly? Because there were no signs. You know, like you might see like a sign on a brick wall, or you might see blah blah blah, you know, like, or a train station or a bus stop saying Prism. You know, we don't quite see that, which is obviously a mistake of ours that we can't rectify now. But maybe we can try and rectify that in a sequel or a prequel.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily a mistake, because you're creating your own world, you're creating your own universe. So I mean, you can roll with that, you can lean into that. But I suppose there would be people like, I kind of feel like it's maybe London. You know, it's that whole thing, like when you watch the Batman movies, we know it's Gotham, but really it's Manhattan, right? That's kind of what they're doubling up as. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
What do you hope people take away from Jitters when they get to see it? And they will be able to see it March 16th as of today on streaming. Let's pimp that. Make sure people do go and see it, because you absolutely have to. What do you hope people take away from the movie?
Well, I just hope they love it. I hope they appreciate the film, the narrative. I hope they appreciate that for an independent film, we made it the best independent film we possibly could. I hope they understand it. But as a whole, if there's any actors out there or filmmakers out there, I hope that it inspires people to go out there and make independent film, because it's okay to start off somewhere. It's okay to make film, as long as you have a good team around you and you're clever about it. Go and do it, you know what I mean? But if you're not an actor or a director or just an audience, I just hope you really enjoy it, and give us a great review or a good review. Try and plug it, try and talk about it some more, spread the word. And yeah, I'm a huge lover of independent film. If it's a toss up between doing more independent film and something okay on the mainstream, I think I would prefer doing more independent film, personally.
I love that because at Nerdly, we at Nerdly, that's kind of, we do cover like all the range of movies and whatnot. We have so many people that sort of review everything, but I do tend to lean towards the more independent. And I knew when Jitters was coming out, although I didn't know what to expect, I knew we were going to be in for something. I've known Mark for a good few years now. I've been following since Homeless Ashes and Witch, and Richard Oakes is an unbelievable cinematographer. I give him his flowers every 10 minutes, you know. So I knew I was going to be watching something pleasing. And then what I got was a cracking little horror. I'm going to end on one last question, then I'm going to let you go.
Of course.
But I want to ask you, what is your favorite horror movie of all time? And if you could be a lead in a remake of that movie, would you do it?
I mean, you've really got me there, man. That's a horrible question.
It's just a little fun one to end with.
Oh, man. Listen, there's a few. Can I give you a few, or do you want the one?
So I'll tell you what, you can give me a few of your favourites, but then I want one that you would love to play a lead in a remake.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I love all the Halloween franchise. You know, I love films like Paranormal Activity. I think they're flipping awesome. I like the Freddy Krueger franchise. But you know, in terms of if I could give you one, I think The Exorcist, mate. I think I would love to
Yeah,
play a priest in The Exorcist, or I would love to play some sort of, I don't know. Yeah, you know, I think that the Exorcist was one of those films that was really well made and well executed, and it still frightens people to this day.
yeah.
You know, the little girl that's in the bed, it really was a frightening film because it's got the biblical aspect of it, the church, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you know, like I think that would be it. I love to play characters that aren't easy for me to play.
Yeah.
I've played the easy characters, you know, at the very start of my career, and then I ended up in soap and so on and so forth. But I like those kind of like disturbing, unhinged type characters, and because I feel that it challenges me, and if it challenges me, then you might get something real, you
Yeah.
know. But I hope that's answered that question. And again, big shout out to Richard Oakes, who was a
Yeah.
superb DOP. Again, an underrated DOP, but without him, it probably wouldn't have had the finesse that it had. But
No,
thank you so much again for this
no.
interview.
Fabrizio, this has been absolutely amazing. I want people to check out Jitters again
Please.
on the streaming. I believe it's on Apple TV, but also a ton of other streaming sites you'll be able to
Yeah,
find
Sky
this
on
movie.
Demand, Prime.
Definitely. So I
Yeah.
want everyone to watch it. My review will be dropping either later on today, possibly tomorrow. I mean,
wicked.
spoiler alert, it's pretty positive, to be fair.
Good.
But honestly, everyone check out the movie. Fabrizio, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
doing
so
this.
much.
This has
Thank you
been
so
so
much.
much fun.